I'd like to share with you how I rebuilt my Tein Struts on my autocross Toyota MR2. First, I removed the struts, disassembled them, labeled the parts, and I bought some Racetech Gold Valves for an ATV. They're cool because they come in sets of 2, so I only needed 2 kits. However, they didn't fit, so I took them to my local machinist, and he checked the diameter of my shock shaft, and using a miniature boring bar, he opened up the backing washer, compression backing washer, so that it would fit over the shaft very precisely. And that washer locates the shock valve. And there's also a nut on the other side which locates the shock valve. We had to open up that nut too. You can see the nut here in the photo. And so here he's opening up that nut, checking, make sure we've got a good fit. And then here you see the modified gold valves, again checking that shaft for a very precise fit. And then the machinist made an arbor and mounted the gold valves on the arbor so that we could turn those down. They're 36mm gold valves, and the diameter of the Tein valves are 35mm, so we had to take a millimeter off. And then here you can see the difference between, on the left, the Tein valve and then the gold valves. So he's making this arbor, and he's got it threaded so he can put a nut on the end, mounted the gold valves on there, and then he's going to support the end of that shaft and turn down the outside diameter of the valves. And then next we turn down the sealing diameter of the valves. And got all of them equal and precisely machined, and then we modified the outer tube on the struts so that we could weld on a plate, and using this plate we can drill through that and tap through that plate and install a Schrader valve, which will allow me to gas charge these struts with nitrogen. And unfortunately my Schrader valves didn't show up in time for the race on this particular weekend, so for my initial testing I just ran with no gas. I've rebuilt these a couple of times since then and tried various gas pressures and found that I like 19 pounds. Any more than that starts to raise the dynamic roll center of the car. Here I'm just doing a final cleanup on the valves with some real fine sandpaper and a drill press. Now I'm going to build my shim stacks, and I'm going to open up these bags and sort the shim stacks, measure them, and then build the stacks according to the charts that come with the gold valves, and guess where I think I'd like to be for the initial tune on these valves. So here you can see me building the shim stack. Here's a shim stack together. It's a 2-stage high and low speed compression on that, you can see. And there's a couple of shots of that. There's a separation between those shims, and that's a crossover shim which crosses over to high-speed compression. Once you've got your shim stacks built, zip tie those together so you don't lose the order of the shims. Polish the shock shafts, and then I'm going to lap the valve sealing surface for the shims with crocus paper and install the valve on the shaft with the shims. Next I'm going to install the inner tube of the twin tube shock, and the seal you can see wrapped around the valve here. On the base valve, my O-rings were torn, and it's Saturday night, so I didn't have anywhere to get the proper O-rings, so I ended up using a real small amount of Hylamar sealant and wiped off the excess. Here you can see the base valve installed. This is the completed cartridge ready to go back into the strut housing. Here it is installed in the strut housing. And next I'm going to add some oil, my oil of choice, because this is a street driven car year round in all weather conditions. I like the thinnest oil I can get, and that happens to be Redline like water. Has the least viscosity change with temperature of any oil. If you were racing in a shorter season with more stable temperatures, you could run a different oil. And here I've bled the shocks. I'm just about ready to close the gland nut. I want to run this shaft down, tapping it down with a hammer to get out any last air bubbles through the compression stack. and I've got a bump stop in place, which I use to protect the shaft while I tighten that gland nut. Speaking of bump stops, on the left is the Tein bump stop, on the right is a ground control soft progressive bump stop. These are a highly critical suspension component, often overlooked. Here's the strut, completely reassembled with the tender spring, mainspring, the bump stop, and I've got it height adjusted to where I had marked it from where the car was corner weighted. Completed strut, ready to go back on. Again, my Schrader valves didn't show up for this first race, and strut's ready to go on the car. I'll show you a couple of views of the valves so you can see the difference between the Tein valve on the left and there's the gold valve. It's the gold one. It's got much larger holes, so that the valving is done by the shims rather than by the holes in the piston, and this gives you a lot more valving options. You can build a progressive or a digressive shim stack. And here's the car at the 2010 Nationals, Solo 2 SC